Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. President Ramnath Kovind launches the nationwide Swachhta Abhiyaan campaign in Kanpur, appeals to people to participate wholeheartedly in the mission. Fortnight-long campaign to conclude on Gandhi Jayanti. BSF Jawan martyred during a ceasefire violation by Pakistan in the Rajya subsector of Jammu district. Civilian also injured in the 6th ceasefire violation by Pakistan in 5 days. North Korea provokes again, fires second ballistic missile over Japan's territory. United States calls it a reckless act, urges Russia and China to do more to rein in North Korea. And another terror attack in London. White bucket containing unknown substance explodes on a tube train. 22 people suffer burn injuries as the blast triggers panic. President Ramnath Kovind launched the nationwide Swachhta Abhiyaan campaign from Ishwariganj village in Kanpur today. Governor Ram Nayak and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath were also present on the occasion. The fortnight-long campaign will end on October 2nd on Gandhi Jayanti.
यह शपथ लेता हूं कि सार्वजनिक स्वच्छता हेतु मैं अपने आवास, विद्यालय, स्वास्थ्य केंद्र, बस स्टैंड, जलाशय तथा अन्य सार्वजनिक स्थलों को स्वच्छ करूंगा और स्वच्छ रखूंगा.
President Ramnath Kovind on Friday launched the fortnight-long Swachhta Abhiyaan campaign in Kanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. He appealed to the people to participate wholeheartedly in the mission.
गंदगी जो है किसी भी समाज के लिए एक अभिशाप है. इस अभियान में जुड़ रहा हूं. अपने यहाँ शौचालय बनाया है. ये कोई अपने घर की तरक्की नहीं है, प्रदेश की तरक्की नहीं है. ये राष्ट्र निर्माण का एक बहुत बड़ा संकल्प है, बहुत बड़ा काम है.
The campaign aims at mobilizing people and reinforcing the Jan Andolan for contribute to Mahatma Gandhi's dream of a clean India. Coordinated by the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation, the initiative will encourage work from volunteers as well. Governor Ram Nayak and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath were also present at the program.
10 लाख से अधिक शौचालयों का निर्माण इस दौरान प्रदेश के अंदर हुआ. प्रतिदिन जो औसत शौचालयों के निर्माण वर्तमान में प्रदेश के अंदर चल रहा है, उनकी संख्या 15,000 है और हम लोगों का लक्ष्य है कि इसकी गति को और बढ़ा करके 31 दिसंबर 2017 तक प्रदेश के अंदर 78 लाख शौचालयों का निर्माण करके हम स्वच्छ भारत मिशन को और तीव्र गति देश के सबसे बड़े राज्य उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर देंगे.
Earlier, the president paid tributes to BJP ideologue Deen Dayal Upadhyay at a park named after him in Lucknow. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Well, Pakistani troops yet again resorted to unprovoked firing at the international border in Rajya subsector of Jammu district. A Jawan was killed in the firing even as the BSF retaliated.
Pakistan Rangers violated ceasefire in Jammu district once again on Friday. The unprovoked firing killed a BSF Jawan in Arnia subsector. Pakistani troops used mortars, automatic and small arms that were used to target 9 BSF posts that retaliated in equal measure to the attack.
BSF का जवान है, उसको एक फायर लगा हुआ, उसको रात को ही शिफ्ट किया था BSF के जवान को GMC में, तो वो वहीं पे शायद शहीद हुए हैं. पहले भी फायरिंग हुई है और कुछ जगह पे थोड़ा सा शायद नुकसान भी हुआ है. वो जाके हम असेसमेंट करेंगे कहाँ पे क्या नुकसान हुआ है.
निश्चित रूप से BSF के जवान के शहीद होने पर मुझे तक दुख है, लेकिन मैं कह सकता हूं कि हमारे BSF के बहादुर जवान सीमा पर मुंहतोड़ जवाब दे रहे हैं. और आपने देखा होगा समाचार पत्रों में कि 10 से कई मारे भी गए दूसरी तरफ के.
Tributes were paid to the martyred Constable Bijendra Bahadur Singh. Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Dr. Nirmal Singh, along with BSF officers and Jawans, paid floral tributes at the BSF headquarters in Jammu.
कि हमारे जवान बॉर्डर पर तैनात थे और उसी फायरिंग के दौरान में एक बुलेट हमारे जवान को लगी और वो इंजर्ड हो गया। उसको हमने वहां से इवैक्यूएट किया और दुर्भाग्यवश वो सरवाइव नहीं कर सका। मैंने आपको बताया कि जो एक सूटेबल रिप्लाई है वो ऑलरेडी दिया जा चुका है और इसी तरह से आगे आने वाले समय में भी जो है सूटेबल रिप्लाई दिया जाता रहेगा।
Pakistani troops have been violating the ceasefire for the past 3 days. 2 Pakistani soldiers were killed in retaliatory action by the BSF on Thursday, while 3 Indian jawans were injured in unprovoked firing along the international border and the LOC on Wednesday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the centre will file an affidavit in the Supreme Court on Monday on its plans to deport Rohingya Muslims. This was confirmed by Home Minister Rajnath Singh today, a day after the Home Ministry denied filing any affidavit on the matter. Earlier this month, the Supreme Court sought the centre's stand on a petition challenging its decision to deport Rohingyas back to Myanmar. The petition was filed by 2 Rohingya immigrants who challenged their deportation on several grounds, including violation of international human rights conventions. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj spoke to Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina over the phone and assured her of India's full support to Bangladesh over the Rohingya issue. She also spoke about India persuading Myanmar both bilaterally and multilaterally to take back their refugees.
सर, रोहिंग्या क्राइसिस पर राजनीति हो रही है, क्या कहेंगे आप इस पर?
अब देखिए, जो भी एफिडेविट फाइल करनी है हम लोग 18 तारीख को एफिडेविट फाइल करेंगे।
The Haryana government has agreed to hand over the Ryan International School murder case to the CBI. State Chief Minister M.L. Khattar made the announcement after meeting the parents of the victim on Friday. Khattar also said that the state government will also take over the management of the school for the next 3 months. Deputy Commissioner Vinay Pratap Singh will be in charge of the school during this period. 7-year-old Pradyuman Thakur's parents had been demanding that the investigation be handed over to the CBI since they believed that the murder was planned. While a bus conductor has been arrested for the murder, the parents claim there are still a lot of loopholes. On Thursday, the Gurugram police also served notices to owners of Ryan International Schools, Augustine Pinto and his wife Grace Pinto, asking them to join the investigation. The Pintos have been asked to share school records and documents under Section 91 of the Criminal Penal Code.
बहुत से नेताओं ने, समाज के बहुत से लोगों ने एक मांग रखी है कि इस केस को सीबीआई को सौंपा जाए। वैसे हरियाणा पुलिस इसमें बहुत अच्छी प्रकार से अपनी सारी इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रही है, फिर भी इस मांग के आधार के ऊपर इस केस को सीबीआई को जांच के लिए सौंपा जाता है कि स्कूल का ये जो मैनेजमेंट का काम है अभी 3 महीने के लिए इसको टेक ओवर किया जाता है और हमारे डिप्टी कमिश्नर वो अपनी देखरेख में इस स्कूल की जितनी भी कमियां हैं उन व्यवस्थाओं को ठीक कराएंगे और जो जांच है उसमें भी पूरा सहयोग किया जाएगा।
Well, the Supreme Court has sought the centre's response on the plea of a 73-year-old man from Tamil Nadu seeking a ban on the blue whale game. The game has been linked to the death of several children around the world. The apex court also sought the assistance of Attorney General K.K. Venugopal in the matter. A bench of Chief Justice Deepak Mishra and Justices A.M. Kanwalkar and D.Y. Chandrachud has sought the centre's response in 3 weeks. In the plea, Advocate N.S. Punaya also sought creating awareness among the public about the online game. According to media reports, at least 200 people have committed suicide after playing the online game. Most of them are young children in the age group of 13 to 15 years. The petitioner also said that the Madurai City Police had confirmed that a college student who had committed suicide after playing the game had forwarded it to over 150 friends. Well, Aadhaar will soon be linked to one's driver's license, Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said on Friday. However, he did not give a time frame to link the unique identification number with driver's licenses. His comment comes even as the Supreme Court is yet to rule on whether Aadhaar violates privacy, something it will do in November. Before ruling on Aadhaar and privacy, the apex court took up the issue of whether privacy is a fundamental right and had last month ruled that it is.
125 करोड़ के देश में 118 करोड़ आधार कार्ड है। हमने गरीब के 30 करोड़ जनधन अकाउंट खोले जो बैंक से बाहर थे। हमने उसको आधार से जोड़ा और मोबाइल से सीड किया और सीधा सब्सिडी गैस की, राशन की, किरासन की सीधा उनके बैंक अकाउंट में भेजना शुरू किया। और आपको मैं बताना चाहता हूं, पिछले 2-2.5 वर्षों में हमने 84 सेवाओं को भेजा है भारत सरकार की, प्रदेश सरकारों की।
Well, here's a roundup of some other news from across the country in Nationwide. Security was tightened in Panchkula today ahead of hearings in 2 murder cases against Dera Sacha Sauda chief Gurmeet Singh and others. The Dera chief is the main accused in the murder case of former Dera manager Ranjit Singh and Sirsa-based journalist Ramchandar Chhatrapati. Senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram today said that the CBI should question him instead of his son Karti in the Aircel Maxis case. In a series of tweets, Chidambaram accused the agency of spreading misinformation. Karti had refused to appear for questioning by the CBI on Thursday, saying a special court had discharged all the accused and terminated proceedings in the matter. The CBI, however, maintains that investigations are still on. The Maharashtra government today extended the deadline by 7 days for receiving applications from farmers for its loan waiver scheme. Officials said that the decision to extend the deadline, which was to end today, will benefit around 44 lakh farmers. "80 students of 5 schools fell ill allegedly after consuming the midday meal in Kalahandi district yesterday. The students who complained of vomiting, nausea and stomach pain were taken to the government hospital at Biswanathpur. The 2-day high-level talks between India and Pakistan on the Indus Water Treaty started in Washington today. A World Bank spokesperson said discussions will focus on how to safeguard the treaty for the benefit of people in both countries. He said that the meetings will take place in Washington between September 14th and 15th. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, a day after threatening to sink Japan into the sea, a defiant North Korea fired another ballistic missile across Japan on Friday. It was the second aggressive test flight over Japan's territory, further aggravating tensions in the region.
Millions of Japanese woke up to the sound of blaring sirens and emergency phone alerts on Friday as neighboring North Korea blasted its second missile over the country in less than a month. Residents were warned to take shelter while the intermediate-range ballistic missile passed over Hokkaido before landing in the northern Pacific Ocean.
あんまり現実味がないので、どんなものなのかな。ゾッとするな。いい加減にしろと言いたくなるな。
2度目なのでびっくりしましたけど、多分また上空を通過するんじゃないかなってそう思って。
What do you do in a circumstance like that? You're in a little city in Hokkaido.
Japan said it would never tolerate such dangerous, provocative action. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called for the UN sanctions on North Korea to be imposed firmly.
ミサイル発射直後からミサイルの動きを完全に把握をしており、万全の体制をとっておりました。引き続き強固な日米同盟の下。
South Korea responded within minutes by firing 2 ballistic missiles into the sea in a simulated strike on the north. President Moon Jae-in also called a National Security Council meeting to discuss the launch.
북한은 무모한 도발을 지속하고 빈도와 강도를 높일수록 그만큼 외교적 고립과 경제적 압박에 따른 몰락의 길로 들어서고 있다는 것을 분명히 깨달아야 할 것입니다.
The United States termed the missile launch a reckless act. It also called on Russia and China to do more to rein in North Korea. China, however, continued to urge for peaceful and diplomatic means to ease the tensions on the Korean peninsula.
制裁不是解决问题的根本出路，那么当务之急 是有关各方立即停止刺激半岛局势进一步紧张升级的危险和挑衅性的言行。
Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull also condemned the missile launch. He too called for tougher punishments against Pyongyang.
This is another example of why it's vitally important to continue to tighten those economic sanctions on North Korea. And I think this latest missile launch over Japan and the violent outbursts of North Korean propaganda threatening Japan and the United States overnight. This shows that the sanctions are working, because what has happened is that despite a lot of critics who said it wouldn't happen, the United Nations Security Council has tightened up the sanctions. Oil imports into North Korea are being restricted substantially. 90% of their disclosed exports are being prohibited. So the economic screws are tightening on North Korea.
Friday's missile launch is being termed as the longest ever flight of an intermediate-range missile by North Korea till now. According to South Korean authorities, the missile travelled around 3,700 kilometres, reaching a maximum height of 770 kilometres. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In more international news now, London was hit with yet another terror attack on Friday. At least 22 people were injured when an improvised explosive device was detonated on a tube train in southwest London during rush hour. Assistant Commissioner Mark Rowley said hundreds of detectives working with MI5 are investigating the blast. Here's a report.
Several commuters were injured in a tube blast in southwest London on Friday. The explosion occurred during rush hour on a district line tube train as it pulled into the Parsons Green station. Video and photographs uploaded on social media by eyewitnesses show a white bucket on fire inside a supermarket bag, with wires trailing onto the carriage floor. Witnesses have described seeing at least one passenger with facial injuries, while others spoke of panic as alarmed passengers left the train at the station. While the cause of the blast is still not certain, the Scotland Yard Police has described the blast as a terrorist incident.
The investigation is being led by the Metropolitan Police Counter-Terrorism Command, part of the National Counter-Terrorism Policing Network. And there are many urgent inquiries ongoing now with hundreds of detectives involved, looking at CCTV, forensic work and speaking to witnesses.
Obviously everybody should keep calm and go about their lives in the normal way, as normal as they possibly can. As far as I understand the matter, the British Transport Police, TfL are on it, and they will be updating their websites as and when we get more information.
36 people have died in the 4 terrorist attacks in Britain this year. In 2005, 52 people were killed when 4 British Islamists carried out suicide bomb attacks on 3 London Underground trains and a bus. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Typhoon Doksuri lashed central Vietnam on Friday, damaging houses and knocking out power lines. This is the country's most powerful storm in years. Nearly 80,000 people have been evacuated from coastal regions. According to Vietnam's Met Department, Doksuri made landfall at a wind speed of 130 kilometers per hour. At least 46 flights were cancelled between the capital Hanoi in northern Vietnam and Ho Chi Minh City. Vietnam's Disaster Prevention Committee has said that the storm surge from Doksuri could be greater than 2 meters. According to local disaster prevention authorities, a total of 11,000 households have been ordered to evacuate and nearly 30,000 people were transferred to safe places. Here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. An Indian origin doctor was stabbed to death at his clinic in the US's Kansas City. Authorities identified the victim as 57-year-old Achutta Reddy, who ran the Holistic Psychiatry Services clinic in Wichita. Police arrested a client of the doctor identified as 21-year-old Umar Rashid Dutt. "109 migrants in a rubber dinghy were rescued from the Mediterranean Sea that left the coast of Libya. The migrants were mainly northern African residents who were later transferred to another vessel. After increased hostility by Libyan authorities and the Coast Guard, several NGOs reduced their operations in the Mediterranean. The Pakistani Supreme Court today dismissed review petitions filed by deposed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, his children and Finance Minister Ishaq Dar against the July 28 Panama Papers judgment. The Sharif family and Dar will now face corruption references filed by the National Accountability Bureau in the Accountability Court. Pakistan today expressed concern over the sale of 22 Guardian drones to India by the US and said that it would result in a strategic imbalance in the region. The US in June cleared the sale of 22 Predator drones to India in a deal estimated to be worth $2 to $3 billion. A man attacked a soldier on a counter-terrorism patrol in Paris on Friday. The incident took place at the Châtelet subway station, which is a busy central hub for the metro and the suburban rail network. The assailant was wrestled to the ground before being detained. Well, let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some sports news in SportsBeat. Ace shuttler PV Sindhu reached the semi-finals of the Korean Super Series tournament. The World Championship silver medalist defeated Minatsu Mitani of Japan 21-19, 18-21, 21-10 in the quarter-final in Seoul on Friday. Sindhu will next face the winner of the match between Sung Ji-hyun and Hee Byung-jao. Alexis Sanchez scored a stunning goal as Arsenal came from behind to beat Cologne in 3-1 in a Europa League clash on Thursday. John Cordoba scored the first goal of the match that put Cologne ahead of Arsenal. However, Arsenal improved in the second half and substitute Kolasinac and volleyed from behind. Now, the second goal by Sanchez gave Arsenal a 67th minute lead. Hector Bellerin then scored the third goal for the Arsenal side, making it 3-1. Mark Leishman continued his strong form as he carded 9 under par 62 for the first round lead at the BMW Championship outside Chicago on Thursday. The Australian holed 10 birdies for a 2-shot advantage over fellow countrymen Jason Day and Americans Charlie Hoffman and Jamie Lovemark. Leishman is 7th in the standings. That's it on this newscast, but do stay tuned for the big picture on the other side of the short break.